Good afternoon, students. So, in the last class, we have completed entire aspect of food hygiene. What is the importance of food hygiene? That we have seen about importance of milk hygiene, meat hygiene, and we have seen about food additives, toxicants, food adulteration, acts to prevent or regulate the food adulterations. So, all these aspects we have seen. So, if these are not being met, if this food hygiene is not being met, what is happening? Ultimately, person or a group of family members is landing up with a condition called as food poisoning. So in this class we are going to see about food poisoning. So some or the other time you all might have experienced, or 80 percentage of your classmates, if not all, at least 80 percentage of your classmates might have experienced some or the other times food poisoning. So how we are getting food poisoning? What is the reason? So, food poisoning is an acute gastroenteritis caused by the ingestion of food or drink contaminated with either living bacteria or their toxins or inorganic chemical substances and poisons derived either from plants and animals. So, food poisoning is nothing but the major symptom. It is also called as acute gastroenteritis. So, why it is happening? It's because of the contaminated food or drink, through that the organism, that is either bacteria or its toxins, are getting inside and causing this acute gastroenteritis. And these toxins are being, or these contamination and bacterial toxins are being produced or derived from either plants or from animal meat. Okay, what is the reason, or how we can underline and say that this is food poisoning? What is the major characteristics of a food poisoning? That is, history of ingestion of common food. For example, you are going for a marriage and you are having a food that is called as a common food, and next day you all are getting landing up with diarrhea and other common symptoms of gastroenteritis. Then we can say it is a food poisoning. Attack of many persons at a time. So, majority of them who have taken this common food, 90 percentage or 100 percentage of them are having same major symptoms. Then we can say it is the same, and similarity of signs and symptoms in majority of the cases. Majority of the cases will be having common signs and symptoms of acute gastritis. Then altogether we can underline and say the case is food poisoning. Okay, there are two types of food poisoning, that is bacterial type of food poisoning and non-bacterial type of food poisoning. Bacterial type is again subdivided into salmonella food poisoning based upon the type of bacteria, that is salmonella food poisoning, staphylococcal food poisoning, botulism, clostridium perfringens food poisoning, and another type is serous food poisoning. So these are the different types of food poisoning seen among bacterial. Non-bacterial are because of the chemicals like arsenic, plant and seed foods. So any of these chemicals, ingestion of the chemicals including in that leads to non-bacterial food poisoning. Mainly these things are being ingested during the time of, for within the examples we can say like fertilizers, pesticides, cadmium, mercury. So these lot many of pesticides and fertilizers are used in the agricultural production, and for sustaining the color and storage level of the fruits and vegetables. They are using the pesticides. So if it is not cleaned well, sometimes even the pesticides are being injected into the vegetables and the fruits also. So in that cases, these can lead to food poisoning. Bacterial type, that is ingestion of the food by bacteria or toxins leading to food poisoning. So we'll see what are the different types of bacteria causing this food poisoning and what are the common signs and symptoms. First we'll see salmonella food poisoning, because it is the majority of the food poisoning are because of salmonella. So it is major most important bacteria which leading to food poisoning. So common reason for this food poisoning are increase in community feeding, increase in international trade in human food, higher incidence of salmonellosis in farm animals, widespread use of household detergents interfering with sewage treatment, wide distribution of prepared foods. So these are the reasons why food poisoning, especially the salmonella food poisoning, is more. So lot of people are having or ready to consume food while there is a community feeding, and also there is trade marketing is such a way that human foods are international trade from abroad to our countries. Export quality foods, we are preferring to have such quality of food. Import foods, export foods. So all these type of foods, food transportation and trade marketing is increasing. So in that the process, during this process, any time if storage is not correct or transportation time, also any of this time of till the process of consumption, during the time of transportation or in the trade, there is a chance of contamination. Higher incidence of salmonellosis in the farm animals, especially in the farm animals, we could able to see this bacteria. So poor food handling and many other reasons could be saying the reason for food poisoning. And spread of household detergents, use of household detergents interfering with sewage treatment. So mixing up of the water, for unclean water if you are using for cooking and for other purposes, and use of prepared foods, distribution of prepared foods. Now we have various types of online, Swiggy, Tomato. So in that way there are different types of online supplies are the prepared foods from the hotels directly going and supplying to the consumers. So in that way wide distribution of prepared foods are there. So we don't know how hygienic the food handlers are and how it is being transported, whether the temperature of the food is being maintained correctly or not. So all these matters and leading to food poisoning. So main agent for the salmonella food poisoning are Salmonella typhimurium, Salmonella cholera, Salmonella enteritis. So these are the agents, and sources are contaminated meat, milk, sausages, egg products. By all these are being contaminated by the rodents and its urine and feces, it leading to salmonellosis. Incubation period is 12 to 24 hours. Signs and symptoms are chills, fever, watery diarrhea and vomiting. Next type is about staphylococcal food poisoning. Main agents are enterotoxins of Staphylococcus aureus, and sources are this Staphylococcus is found on the skin, nose, throat of the men and animals. So it involves contamination of the milk, salads, custards, everything that is being if the a person is being infected with. So incubation period is 1 to 8 hours, and signs and symptoms are again diarrhea, abdominal cramps, vomiting. So you can see in the picture the vomiting, diarrhea are the common major symptoms, even though there are sometimes if it is severe there is a chances of mucus and blood spilling out while passing the stool. Temperature will be the headache, and tinnitus, like tinnitus means it's nothing but even though just they have gone to the toilet and come back, they feed again to empty the toilet and empty the bowl, and they are going again once again. So more and more 5 to 6 times they are going to toilet to empty the bladder, bowel and bladder. So in that way such kind of thought is called as tinnitus. Next is about botulism. So botulism, here the agents are endotoxin of Clostridium botulinum type A, B and E. So these are the organism causing the disease. Sources are soil, dust, intestinal tract of animals. So these are things even in the soil and dust and intestinal tract of animals. You might have heard about the intestinal tract. It is usually in the local name it is called as boating. It is being cooked and consumed by the human beings. So if these organisms are mainly seen in the intestinal tract of buffaloes and or other organisms, which animals which we are using for consumption. So if this intestinal tract is not properly cleaned, landing up with botulism disease. So and another way of source of infection is through home canned foods, pickled fish, homemade cheese, if it is not storing properly in a refrigerator, and if it is not hygienically maintained, moisture is there. So lot of things comes, then this food gets spoiled, so and leading to botulism. Incubation period is 18 to 36 hours. It acts on the parasympathetic nervous system, leading to the signs and symptoms like dysphagia, diplopia, muscle weakness. and infants if it is occurring